What I'd like to do today is just to evaluate and talk about a study and to once again say, look, I am not an educational expert, but I rely on educational experts and what they talk about. And Lauren Bridge is somebody who talks about this study here. So I thought it would be worthwhile for us to gain a little bit of an understanding to one of the many studies into the strengths and weaknesses of single-sex education. And this study comes from the Cornwall University in the USA, which has a very interesting finding based on the research that they had available to them. And the findings are as follows. Girls do worse in their education, in their careers, and in their social lives when they have more high-achieving boys in their classes. And conversely, girls do much better in STEM classes, science, technology, maths, when they have high-achieving girls in their class and are more likely to complete a bachelor's degree. And interestingly, the study also noted that the greater the exposure to high-achieving boys, the greater the negative effect on the girls' self-confidence and aspirations. And we can go on to say that the reverse can also be true when high-performing girls cause boys to lose confidence and drive and focus, and for the boys to become disruptive in a class with girls when they feel displaced and potentially embarrassed by not being able to keep up. The study also found that boys were not affected by exposure to high achievers, such as other boys, which is interesting because what we learn is that boys love to compete against other boys in general terms, not saying this is for all boys, but generally, if you just use your own observations, boys tend to compete against other boys, whereas girls are really good at networking and supporting other girls. And hence, these findings are very, very relevant in that respect. Lauren Bridge goes on to talk about the differences in boys and girls, and she says that the good thing about all girls' schools is that they are free from this high performance boy threat and are not intimidated by high performing girls who actually motivate them to try harder. Girls are also free from classroom disturbances and the potential teacher biases, where they may unintentionally give preference to high-performing and needy boys, especially in those STEM classes, or conversely giving too much attention to boys who are unperforming and just loud and obnoxious. Bridge also comments as follows. The research revealed that girls who had lower academic ability and those who did not have a college-educated parent were particularly negatively affected by the more pressure of high-achieving boys. So this is a really important point. So it also gets back to the family type that you have, and that they were more likely to get better grades in school and a bachelor's degree if they were exposed to high-achieving female peers. Once again, the message here is that girls tend to help girls, whereas boys compete with boys. So boys help boys through competing with each other to bring out the best in each other, whereas girls, once again, not all girls, but girls in general, tend to help and support each other in their growth and development. So we talk about the fact that in co-ed schools, there's a lot more unconscious gender stereotyping and various biases at play that exist in a educational environment. The other thing that Lauren Bridge goes on to say is that co-educational schools differ from suburb to suburb. So there is a level of inconsistency. So depending on where you live, the socio-economic impact, the cultural impact, the split between boys and girls and the age groups, the ethnic makeup of the school, all of these things, the education level of the parents, the jobs that the parents do, all of these things, all these variabilities impact the social environment within that school. So depending on where you live, you're going to have tremendous differences in the school environment. Whereas what Lauren Bridge is saying is that if you send your child, your boy or your girl, to an established boys or an established girls' school, what you're going to get is a relatively consistent outcome because the school has systems and culture in place and traditions that transcend all of the other variables that we've talked about. And one of the interesting things and one of the beautiful things that some of the girls say when interviewed is that we are at school to focus on our education, and being around girls makes it all a lot easier to do just that. We have to understand that it's just natural for boys to hang around with boys and girls to hang around with girls. I spoke recently to a friend of mine who was a retired school principal, and he's worked in single-sex schools and he's worked in co-educational environments. And I prompted him and asked him about the dynamics of co-educational schools. And he was able to confirm with me that yes, in general terms, the boys in a co-ed school tend to hang out with the boys and the girls tend to hang out with the girls, which once again reaffirms what we've known forever and a day,